Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas just shook Washington, D.C., and Democrats, well, they're nervous. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. The great Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas was doing a question and answer session at Columbia School of Law, and he was asked something that I thought was rather interesting. He was asked about precedent, Supreme Court precedent. Do you follow it? And Justice Thomas explained that there are reasons to overrule precedent. And, you know, the woman interviewing him, obviously she had a reason in mind for this. And I'm going to get to the reason in just a second because they don't actually explicitly say it in the video, and you're going to be interested in it. But she asks him about the Plessy case, Plessy versus Ferguson. And for those that don't know, that's the case that basically decided, in layman's terms, it basically said that separate but equal was okay, so that if white people and black people had the same facilities, had access to the same facilities, and the facilities were just as good as each other, just as clean as each other, you know, everything was the same, then it was okay to segregate. And so I think she tried to appeal to Clarence Thomas's emotional side as a black man by asking him, well, you know, what about Plessy versus Ferguson? Now, he said, of course, Plessy versus Ferguson, that was a precedent that had to be overruled, right? Because it would have kept this country segregated. And that was a horrible time, right? So separate but equal did not work because inherently it's not equal. And so the Plessy case illustrates, actually, the fallacy of precedent. And what he said is, I don't treat precedent as gospel. See, a lot of liberals, when they get their way in the Supreme Court, they want you to treat the precedent basically as gospel, as law, as rock solid, untouchable, which is why they were so angry that Roe versus Wade got annihilated, got sent back to the States. But now there's another case, the Obergefell case, which allowed for same-sex marriage. It made it legal. I don't think the Supreme Court should be in the business of making law. That's not their role. That's the role of the legislature. So if you want to make same-sex marriage legal nationwide, do that in Congress, not the Supreme Court. I think, as this case gets back to the Supreme Court, I think Obergefell, the precedent there, is going to be overturned. And I think the issue of same-sex marriage is going to go back to the states. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, honestly. Listen, I believe in the Christian version of marriage, which is to me the only version of marriage, one man, one woman, end of story. That's what I believe personally. But I also believe that my religion should not be the theocracy of the land. Just because I believe that, I don't think that my religion should dictate the law of the land. This is a land where people are free to practice whatever religion they want, or no religion at all. And so I'm not really a big fan of overturning Obergefell, but I understand the reason for it, and that's what Clarence Thomas was trying to explain here. I want you to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
I don't think that I have the gospel, and I don't think that any of these cases that have been decided are the gospel. And I do give respect to precedent, but the precedent should be respectful of our legal tradition and our country and our laws, and be based on something, not just something that somebody dreamt up and others went along with. And you know, you've got. Let's just take, for example, I think, do you think that Plessy was right? That was a precedent for almost 7 decades?
Right.
Or do you think you should have just followed it because it was already decided? Or do you think it somehow violates, it's so wrong that it needs to go?